Derby Wars, racing's biggest contest site, is now even bigger with more than 200 games every day. Check out Survivor, Derby Wars' hottest new game. It's fun, easy to play, and for just $4 you could win $1,000. Just pick a horse to finish first, second, or third and advance to the next race. With daily payouts and games starting every hour, you'll see why fans are racing to play Survivor.
Welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. I am Brian Zipsy, and as always, I have the great pleasure of being joined by my co-host to the East Coast. That's Matt Schiffman. How are you today, Matt?
I'm great, Brian, and only HorseCenter can bring you Breeders' Cup top picks and long shots a mere 3 hours after the announcement of pre-entries.
3 hours. I hope Brett Workman can produce this baby quickly, Matt. We're like a couple of kids in a candy store. Pre-entries are out. 185 horses have been pre-entered for Breeders' Cup 2016. Are you ready to roll, Matt?
I'm ready. Let's do it. You know what, Brian? Let's do it fast.
Let's do it fast, Matt. We're going to do something a little different today. Brett's got the bell out. He doesn't want us to talk about these 13 races too long and make everyone listen to this show for an hour or more. So we are literally on a 90-second limit, Matt. If you go over, I'm talking to you, Matt. If you go over that 90-second limit, Brett's going to ring that bell. I think he's going to ring the... Yeah, there's the bell. He's going to ring that bell anyway. So we're going to go each race, 90-second limit. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
First race on Friday, Breeders' Cup race, is the Juvenile Turf, Matt. I decided to go with the Americans here as my top picks, but I see you are on the Euros.
I like the Euros because they have a lot more experience, 6-7 races for each of them than the Americans. My top pick in here, thus, is Lancaster Bomber from, how can you go wrong, Aidan O'Brien.
Aidan O'Brien, you love him, Matt. You love Lancaster Gordon in here, but I'm going to tell you the Americans are better this year. Now, I agree with you. Experience helps in this race, and the Euros do have a good history in the Breeders' Cup juvenile races, but I think the Americans have the home field advantage, and they got some talent this year. I like Oscar Performance. His 2 turf races in New York were excellent. I also think Big Score, coming out of California, coming off a big score at California, has a big chance. I'm going Americans 1-2 in here, Matt.
My big rival for the top spot is Good Samaritan from Bill Mott. Ran a bang-up race at Woodbine recently. And my long shot, I'm going back to Aidan O'Brien with Intelligence Cross.
Intelligence Cross. So you have O'Brien first and third in here with the long shot. I had Please Let Me Win as a Euro long shot. I think he might appreciate the firm turf. But Matt, Oscar Performance, if you've been watching in your home turf, both Saratoga and Belmont, firm turf, soft turf, it didn't matter. He looked like the real deal. I expect him to win.
These are very, very deep and contentious fields, both for the boys and the girls.
I think you're right, Matt. Tough race. Now, the dirt mile is, I think, a little bit less contentious. In fact, there's only 11 horses pre-entered for the dirt mile. 4 of the 11 have this race listed as a second preference. We probably are only going to see 7 and 8. I had to go with the favorite in this one, Matt. I don't think it's a race to beat the favorites. Dortmund is the class of the race.
Brian, I'm going to take a flyer in here. I'm going to try and beat Dortmund. Call me crazy. I'm going with Tom's Ready to make a big, bold closing move down the stretch to win the dirt mile.
Well, you better hope, if you're picking Tom's Ready, I'm not sure that this is the race to go long shot, but if you're picking Tom's Ready, Matt, you better hope that somebody goes with Run Happy early. I think Run Happy is the main rival to Dortmund. You know, I think he's a very, very talented horse, and I think he will improve second time out. Dortmund probably runs him down late, but I think who's going to go with Run Happy early? I'm not seeing anybody that can do it. Favorites maybe 1-2 in this one from me, Matt.
Well, certainly Dortmund is the horse to beat in here. My long shot is Texas Chrome. I want no part of Run Happy.
Texas Chrome, I like him. He's got a lot of heart coming from lesser races against 3-year-olds, but I certainly think he's a threat, as well as Accelerate, who is my top long shot, a California 3-year-old who I think might be ready to move forward again. He's coming in off a win streak. But Matt, class is going to tell in this race. Dortmund leaving California Chrome, boy, will he be tough.
I agree, Brian.
Matt, we're moving on. I'm throwing pages here, Matt. 90 seconds is not a lot of time. We're going to the Juvenile fillies turf. And this is one of my better bets of the whole weekend, Matt. I love the Mark Casse filly La Coronel. I saw her at Keeneland. I think she's the real deal.
Yep, no question, Brian. Tremendously talented, and Cassie is so good on the turf. Another very, very strong and very deep field. I could see 7, 8 horses winning the race. I'm going with Joseph O'Brien, and intricately, Joseph O'Brien to be a rookie winner.
You love the O'Briens. In fact, I see you have different O'Briens, 1-2 father-son duo. I thought maybe that both of your top 2 picks, not to jump on you here, Matt, as I often do, both of them might be better on wet turf. I don't think they're going to see it in Santa Anita. La Coronel, when she switched to turf, she ran huge at Saratoga. The filly she beat, of course, is in this race. And one of the horses that you mentioned as horses that could win, New Money Honey. La Coronel just rocked her world at Saratoga on firm turf. Then she comes to Keeneland, does the exact same thing. La Coronel is the best horse in the race. Of the Euros, though, Matt, promised to be true, Spainburg are my top 2.
Yep, and I've got hydrangea in there. My wife loves those hydrangeas. I got to plant them all over my yard. And Spainburg, we both have the same long shot. So, folks, I might pay attention to that one.
Well, the Reeves got in a partnership. They gave this one. They went to Europe, bought her, and gave her to Kathy Riffo. Now she's in 90 seconds, Matt. The Distaff, we only got 90 seconds to talk about Songbird, Stellar Wind, Beholder. Our long shots are both forever unbridled. Matt, how can we not have Beholder listed on either of our 3 horses here?
I know, isn't that something? It's such a wonderful field. My top pick, Brian, after much thought, I'm going to go with Songbird. I really believe that she has a way of winning, and she will find a way of winning once again in the Distaff.
Well, this will be her toughest race to date, Matt. Of that, we can have no doubt. We've said it before, but Stellar Wind and Beholder are different horses than the 3-year-old she's been facing. I certainly think Songbird can win. In fact, I basically in this race, I have a 1A, a 1B, and a 1C. I went Stellar Wind. I think California, I think she can sit off the other 2 favorites, make her move, and win this race. If the pace gets a little too fast early, maybe Forever Unbridled gets up into the exacta or triple. Good long shot, right?
Yep, not a race where I'm going to be betting much money, but a race that I am so looking forward to watching.
Wonderful race, 3 wonderful horses. Carolina, if she's in there, she's a threat. Beholder, this is her swan song, Matt. It would be nice to see her go out a winner.
It sure would. She's going to retire after this race and go to the breeding shed.
What a career for Beholder. Matt, that's the Distaff, and I didn't even hear there's the bell. All right, the Juvenile fillies, Matt, kicks off Saturday. Juvenile fillies, we have really different horses in here. I think this is another race where handicappers are going to struggle to pick the winner. I went Union Strike. You went Yellow Agate.
Yep, and again, it's a wide open field, a very inexperienced field, filled with Americans, with 2, 3 races tops. So anything could happen. I like Yellow Agate's races in New York. I think it's a horse that's getting better. Maybe it's time for Christophe Clement to win his first Breeders' Cup win after years of trying.
Here's why I don't like her, Matt. Horses that don't show a lot of speed on the East Coast coming to Santa Anita, I think that's a really tough spot. I think this is a race where the Californians could dominate. Union Strike looked huge. She showed a good maiden race where she ran second to a good horse, and then a big in performance at Del Mar. She's been freshened. I like her best. American Gal, who knows how good she could be for Bob Baffert. She'll be coming in off short rest if she goes. If she does go, I think she's the speed of the race and a very interesting filly. I like her even better than the other Baffert, who's also a threat, noted and quoted.
And my main rhyme, no doubt Union Strike is the horse to beat, the favorite in the race. My long shot is With Honors, coming from the barn of Kent DeSormo.
Valadorna for me is my long shot, Matt. I saw her at Keeneland. She's the real deal for Mark Casse. She's only had 2 maiden races, but I think she's good. Filly and Mare Turf, Matt. Filly and Mare Turf, of course, features Lady Eli, the great story that is Lady Eli. She's back. We almost lost her last year due to laminitis. She's back. She's run 2 very good races, winning the Flower Bowl last time. She's your top pick?
She's my top pick. How can I go against Lady Eli? Not only everything about her, I love the horse. And, hey, she's the horse to beat in that race also.
She's the horse to beat of the Americans, I'll give you that, but there are some really good Euros coming in. Seventh Heaven I have listed as my top pick. Now, she's cross-centered in the turf as well. If you've been watching races in Europe, she beat Found a couple races ago very impressively. She seems to need her type of race. I think she's going to like firm turf. If Seventh Heaven's in, I think she might be a little bit more classy than Lady Eli, and it hurts me a little bit to say that, Matt.
Yeah, well, it's going to be hard to tell how the Euros take to this super hard new turf course at Santa Anita. That's going to be interesting to see. I like to see Khaleesi in here to run a little bit better than the last time, and my long shot pick is Alsgal.
Alsgal is just on a roll. C. Khaleesi, I think, is a threat for sure in here. I have an interesting long shot too, and I'm definitely going to bet this one. Nuovo Record from Japan has run a ton of good races. Her form this year doesn't look quite as good, but I like her last. She's been running against boys. Watch out for her as a long shot. Matt, we're moving on. We're sprinting to the next race, and it is the sprint. Can we agree on one race? Who do we like in the sprint?
I think we agree. It's Lord Nelson all the way for me, although I tell you what, Brian, it is a dicey field. It's a talented field. I've got as my main rival Masochistic, who runs really well off the layoffs, and he's doing it here. And that horse is super fast, but there's plenty of speed in there. My long shot, Brian, coming from the clouds, is Joking for Charlie Baker.
I'm not big on Joking, kind of the same reason I didn't like Yellow Agate too much, Matt. I think it's tough to rally from New York to California. Lord Nelson, I'm going to agree with you. I think the speed sets it up. He'll be in the middle of the pack early and make that nice Bob Baffert sprinting move. Lord Nelson looks like the horse to beat, but I have a lot of respect for AP Indian, Matt. He's run a ton of good sprint races, none better than his last 5, and he doesn't need his track. He's moved around in those 5 wins. He can also come a little bit off the pace, AP Indian. My long shot, basically because I like the 4 favorites, is Drafong. I think he's only 5-1 or so, 5-6-1, the 4th choice. I like him better than Masochistic in here. As you said, though, there's a lot of speed, so I like the fact that a few of them can come from off the pace in the sprint.
Yep, and this is also going to be Lord Nelson's last race.
Spendthrift, Beholder, Lord Nelson, both could go out a winner. Matt, let's go to the turf sprint. I don't know, what, 2 dozen, 3 dozen, how many horses? They should have split this race, Matt. There's something crazy, like 28 horses listed. We ended up on some different horses, but the one horse we did have in common is Pure Sensation.
Yeah, Pure Sensation. That's another one from Christophe Clement, who has been on a roll lately. But, Brian, my top pick is going to be Ambitious Brew, because this race is on the downhill course, Brian, and I defer to horses with experience on the downhill course. Ambitious Brew is 5 for 9 going down the hill with a big win in the Eddie Reed last time out.
Matt, that wasn't the faster half of the Eddie Reed. Of course, Holy Loot ran even faster in that same race. I do think that Ambitious Brew is a big threat here, one of many that I could have listed. Pure Sensation, though, I think the East Coast sprinters are better than the California sprinters. I think they have a little bit more class, and the best of them all, I think, is Pure Sensation, as you mentioned, for Clement. He's on a real roll. If you look at his races in turf sprints of late, just a really dynamic horse who wants to win. Washington, D.C., a European shipper. There are several European shippers in here that I think have a shot. Washington, D.C. was the one I landed on. And don't forget about Undrafted. If that pace is crazy fast, 6.5 furlongs is right up Undrafted's alley, and he ran here big 2 years ago.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the Euros in here. They go so fast down that hill, Brian.
Tough for the Euros. We agree. Filly and Mare Sprint, Matt. Again, we have some differences of opinion, although I'm going to say that my top pick is actually a second preference. I just have a feeling that Carolina is going to avoid Songbird, Stellar Wind, Beholder, and the rest, and they're going to pick this spot. And if they do, Carolina, 7 furlongs, I think that's going to be perfect. I think she's the winner if she runs.
Yeah, this 7 furlong distance for the Filly and Mare Sprint, to me, is often a race that favors horses coming off the pace, even out in California. I'm going with maybe a little bit of a price in here with Tara's Tango, who, in my opinion, is best sprinting. Last time ran in the Zenyatta against Stellar Wind and Beholder. Draw a line through that race. This girl is back doing what she should be doing. I'm looking for a price there.
Terrace Tango, I don't know how big a price you're going to get, but you should get decent odds at least, Matt. Now, interestingly, in this race, I think there's less speed than in normal years. So, yeah, I love this race as a rallying race, but I didn't see a ton of speed. That makes me think that maybe I don't have her on my list. Paula's Silver Lining, though, becomes a horse that maybe a little bit more dangerous considering this is less speed, and she runs well every time. Matt, at 7 furlongs, I think we got to talk a little bit about Have You Gone My Way?
Yeah, terrific horse for Tom Morley. First grade one, first Breeders' Cup horse. Great story. Brian, we can't forget about Karina Mia either.
Karina Mia has a shot, Matt. It's a tough race in there as well. The Juvenile, we agree. At least we agree on her exacta box. The Kentucky 2-year-olds are the best 2-year-olds. Matt, say it with me this year. The Kentucky 2-year-olds are the best 2-year-olds.
I think the horses from the east of the Mississippi are the good 2-year-olds this year. And I've got Classic Empire on top with the main rival coming from Not This Time. And my long shot, or a little bit of a bigger price, is Practical Joke.
Practical Joke, my long shot is from the same race. I think Cindergaard ran a better race in the Champagne, even though Practical Joke beat him by a nose. Cindergaard ran so fast early with pressure, held on really well. I think he could present some problems on that Santa Anita dirt track. But I think, like we talked about, the two Kentucky horses, Classic Empire, Mark Cassie's run 3 great races. One he's been able to run when he didn't dump his jockey that one time at Saratoga. But even better than him, I've been impressed with Not This Time from the very beginning. Ellis Park maiden race was gigantic. And then what he did in the Iroquois when he broke bad on a wet track and just blew the doors off the field. Those are two serious horses. And I think we'll be talking about both of them next spring, Matt. Classic Empire, Not This Time, 1-2 in the Juvenile.
We agree on that one, Brian.
No bell. Let's move on anyway, Matt. The turf. The turf is, look at this. We agree on the exacta this time, Matt. We're both going with Flintshire. Is Flintshire the best turf horse in America?
Well, on the dry track that he's going to get at Santa Anita, everything is going to be in his favor. So if Flintshire is on his A game, he is going to be very, very tough to beat. And I like Highland Rail in second, as you do, Brian. Those ARC non-winners are tough. Aidan O'Brien has got Highland Rail on the hard turf for good reason.
Yeah, both of Aidan O'Brien's top 2 horses in here. He's also got Seventh Heaven cross-listed, as we talked about before. But both of them, Found and Highland Rail, I think, are huge threats. One won the ARC, one was second in the ARC. Highland Rail, folks, is the first preference turf. Found is the first preference classic. So I think that's why both Matt and I have Highland Rail second. But we agree. Flintshire, I think, has the advantage. This firm turf, we know he loves it. Remember what he did at Santa Anita 2 years ago, Matt. Even though it was a second-place finish, he ran huge. A repeat of that performance from 2 years ago when he ran second to Main Sequence should win this.
Yep, I agree. And my long shot is the Big Hoss. Everybody's ignoring the Big Hoss. The horse, all he does is win and win and win. I know people say the 1.5 miles might be too short for him.
The Big Hoss is a wonderful claim. He's won a lot of races in a row. Money multiplier, Matt. He's better than he looks off that last race. Watch out for him as a long shot. We're going mile, Matt. And this one surprised me a little bit. I am going against the defending champion, the great mare, Tepin. And now I see you are too.
Brian, the field came up as a monster field. And the only reason that I have question marks about Tepin is there is so much speed in the race. And Tepin likes to be close. And I'm just a little concerned about that. I'm concerned about all the speed on the front end. I'm looking for a horse to rally, and that horse is Alice Springs. I guess it's from Aidan O'Brien.
Of course. Alice Springs ran a very good race in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Fillies last year, and she's proven to be a top miler in Europe. So I respect her, Matt. But for me, it's about Ironicus. Ironicus got a very slow pace. Once he got healthy, remember how well he ran in the Manhattan this summer when he was stopped on the rail. Flintshire won the race, but Ironicus ran huge. He's healthy again. Shadwell Miley got no pace, and he still flew and almost won that race. I think a pace that he's going to find, like you mentioned, in the Breeders' Cup Mile is going to be the key for a healthy Ironicus finally winning a big one. I like Ironicus best. Matt, Spectre was the filly that I threw in as my long shot. So many Europeans have a shot in here. I thought it was interesting that Lamato's choosing this one over the Sprint.
Yeah. Next one,
Yeah.
Brian.
I heard a bell. Should we go Classic? Who's your top pick in the Classic, Matt?
California Chrome.
California Chrome is most people's top pick in the Classic. He's going to be odds on, and by all accounts, he should win. He's doing wonderfully. He's one of the best American dirt horses in the last 10 years. He's the all-time leading earner. He's at his home track. I should be picking California Chrome to win. I'm sticking with my boy, though, Matt. Frosted. Frosted is hugely talented. He's better than most people think, especially coming off the loss in the Woodward. I think he's going to run a big race. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to win, but I'm going to stick with him.
And you know what, Zipsy? I would have had no respect for you if you had not picked Frosted. So good job there.
Frosted over California Chrome. I'm putting California Chrome second. Matt, neither of us have Arrogate listed. People are raving about how Arrogate's training out in California.
That's okay. Let them do that. All I hear is Arrogate, Arrogate, Arrogate. I got Frosted as the main rival. My long shot is found. I need Arrogate to run some more races. I don't think that Travers is enough for him to be at the level of California Chrome.
Fair enough, Matt. I think Arrogate probably is the best 3-year-old in the country right now. However, I think that he's going to find competition awfully tough, just like you with the older horses. I can't believe Brett is dinging us on the last race. That just seems unfair. We both have Found as a long shot. I'm not sure what to think, but Aiden O'Brien, firm dirt, fast dirt. I know she's got the talent. I know she can get the distance. If one of the long shots run, I think it could be Found.
Yeah, and you know, Brian, it was hard for us to put Arrogate in as a long shot because he's going to be a short price.
Clear
it
second.
Makes it even tougher for me to play the horse.
Folks, we had a little bit of fun with this. Boom Boom pre-entries came out this afternoon. We got right on the air to do this with you. I hope you liked our little 90-second spiel on each race. We will be back, though, early next week to really handicap the races more in depth and talk about our best plays for the week. Happy Breeders' Cup. What do we got, Matt? We got 9 days. 9 days to the Breeders' Cup. Pre-entries are out. Unwrap those Christmas presents of past performances for the Breeders' Cup. And as always, I want to thank our sponsor, the best contest site out there, Derby Wars.
Yeah, it was a dinger of a show, Brian. And I want to thank our producer, Brett Workman. And
Ring the bell one more time, Brett. There we go. We'll see you next week, folks.